All right, welcome to episode 5 of the Iowa Girls Wrestling Stories podcast. Today we have two guests, sisters, Rylee and Calista Rodish. These two have been around Iowa Girls Wrestling for a number of years, whether it's on the mat, in the corner, creating something really cool in the kitchen, or riding horses. These two always do it right. How are you two today?
Good, Troy. How are you?
Very good. Did I say that right? Because everybody says it different. I've said Rodish. I've heard Rodish. How do we say it?
It's Rodish.
It is Rodish. So I've been saying it wrong for like 10 years.
It's okay. We got past the point where we just answer by it.
Yeah, it's kind of that same thing with like Charity Mickles, but it's actually Michaels, but it's spelled like Mickles. So, forever should be Charity Mickles to me.
Yeah,
all right.
Too.
So let's just get started, where you two started. And I'm going to guess, just from knowing your family, that maybe mom and dad had some influence on that. So you both can, maybe Rylee, since she's the oldest one, can maybe tell us how she got started, and then Calista can join in.
Yeah, so I wrestled a little bit when we were in like elementary and kindergarten. My dad volunteered for the club at Waukee. I kind of did that. I was very shy and I didn't really like the competition then, so I left. And then 8th grade, I was sitting in health class and an announcement goes over the school, and it's like, if anyone wants to join wrestling, contact, I think it was our high school coach at the time or something like that. And I run home and I'm like, Mom, I want to join wrestling. And of course my parents are a little standoffish about it because, I didn't like it when I was a kid. But yeah, that's kind of where I got into it. I wrestled my 8th grade season, loved it, and then just took off from there.
Nice. Calista, how about you?
Yeah, Rylee was definitely a big influence in me joining wrestling. I don't really like to tell her that, but she was. Our mom was an MMA fighter too, and our dad was a wrestler. So we kind of grew up in those kind of sports. Just when we were younger, it was what we were around. I was always in the gym with one of my parents. I went to a couple of practices with Rylee to give her another partner, and we went to some clubs together. And I stopped for a little bit just because I did other sports like volleyball and softball, and it was hard to manage a lot of sports. But going into my freshman year, when Raccoon River Wrestling started and when girls wrestling got sanctioned, I thought maybe it would be a fun idea to try out. So
yeah, and that has seemed to work out. I sent Rylee a few pictures earlier today of some teams. It's kind of crazy to look back. Man, when you guys first got started and I was just getting started coaching girls, man, if there was 20 or 30 girls at a weight in the state, that was amazing. Or maybe even I think less than that. So we knew everybody. And so we were all on different teams together. I remember back to those memories of the Mat of Dreams and Twin Rivers and things like that. And if I remember right, probably one of the times I think Calista maybe got some big boost in confidence was at a Mat of Dreams, actually the charity conflict for charity the night before. I believe you were wrestling Abby Meyer, and I believe you beat Abby Meyer there. and I think that might have been a turning point. So are there any core memories from maybe some of those early tournaments or any of those things that kind of set out, and that's really what maybe helped you get into wrestling a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it was the friendships, honestly, that I built. I mean, like you said, there was so little girls that were actually going out to wrestling that I knew everyone. I made a lot of different connections from it and a lot of friendships that I still have to this day. And I think that's just what keeps me going mostly. I get to keep in touch with all of the girls that I was wrestling with when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. So I would think, honestly, that core memory-wise would probably be an Abby Meyer match. That's when I kind of realized that I really did like the sport. And I mean, I love Abby. We went to Fargo together. I mean, we're still really good friends to this day. But just friendships like that keep me going.
Yeah, that's what I think is a little bit different about girls wrestling maybe.
Yeah.
Very tough competition on the mat, but off the mat, everybody kind of remains friends and they can hang out together, and there's not such a big problem when we wrestle each other. Of course you're upset after a loss or you're excited about a win, but we kind of let those things go and just remain friends and keep growing the sport. How about you, Rylee?
I think my biggest core memory that comes to mind is my first year at Disney. And I was trying to get down to weight, and right before I left for Disney, I ate a whole loaf of bread. Which that's a running joke to this day. So I had a little bit of a hard cut on my way to Disney, and I didn't really know any of the girls going in there. But so there was this person in front of me, and she's just this little cute little girl. And she's on the Iowa team. You guys will know who I'm talking about in a second. And she steps on the scale and they say Shay Mickey. And I'm like, okay, I've kind of heard that name before. She steps on the scale and it reads 118.9. I step on the scale and my weight reads 118.9. So Shay and I identically weighed in at the same weight, and we have a photo in our singlets of like our arm that says 118.9. And that's where like that friendship took off. And just like from there, like I got to meet all the Iowa girls, like Hannah Michael, Tatum and Sydney Park, like all of those girls that like I still talk to them today. It's just like a good like memory that I still have.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. There's one of mine, I believe was one of the first, probably your freshman year, maybe it was your sophomore year. We ended up being at the same tournament, and in your bracket was Shay Mickey and King. Yeah. And that was the whole bracket. So that was from like 106 all the way to 120, because I think Keegan actually made 120 that day. Normally she wrestled at 26, but so that's how girls brackets used to be put together. I guess maybe Rylee and Calista, you've been around long enough. Contrast a little bit of that small wrestling, and maybe you're wrestling 2 weight classes up just to get girls in a bracket, to now when we go down to the girls union, or even a Monday night or a Friday night or a Saturday tournament, when we have 25 teams there and there's 16 plus girls in a bracket. Kind of contrast, what it was like then to now.
Yeah, so when I first started wrestling, my whole high school career, basically everything was still small until my senior year is kind of when it took off. Well, they took off before, but it really got big that like junior, senior year. But freshman and sophomore year, I would wrestle continuously the same girls over and over and over again. That's like where some of those friendships kind of built as well, because you saw them anywhere and everywhere you went. And so we would pool, like you were saying, like 106 to 120 in a bracket, and there'd be 4 of us, and we would just like Madison bracket it. So you'd wrestle everybody in that bracket. And then nowadays with coaching, like our brackets are 32-man brackets, or we have to like split bracket for them, like the state tournament. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Calista? You started high school with girls wrestling. Were you the first year sanctioned, or did you have an IWCOA tournament?
We were the first year sanctioned.
First year sanctioned, okay.
So yeah, even my 6th, 7th, 8th grade year wrestling, I would go to club with Rylee, and I mean at the club it would just be all guys and just us in a corner kind of working out, just trying to keep up with them, catch up with them, figure out what we were doing, watch what they were doing, try to like be involved as much as we could. And walking into my wrestling room now, it is just such a huge difference. I mean, my photo, a bunch of different girls' photos, it's all up on the wall, all of our accomplishments, all of what we placed at state, what our weight was, all of that's up on the wall. And you walk in there and there's 30, 40 girls wrestling. I mean, it's just insane to see the difference now. I'm really glad that it's changed. Obviously, we have a youth program too for Raccoon River Wrestling that I help out and I coach at occasionally after practices or this summer for freestyle. I'm over there a lot helping them out. And I think it's really nice that they'll be able to grow up starting where we're ending, where they'll be able to grow up in a room full of girls. They'll never really have to go through what we went through and what we endured just to get to that point. They'll just start fresh with that. And I think that's really magical to see that.
Yeah, and I think your room is, got some really good things going on it. I know that you have 3 female coaches this year, and I believe someone sitting right next to you, Calista, is the new middle school head coach for the girls for Raccoon River, and that is awesome. What's it like to have? I mean, you've had female coaches, and from the beginning. There, Jess was around, and there's always been a few, but just the impact that since sanctioning, the number of female coaches is getting bigger. And what's that like? It was like for you, Rylee. You're kind of pioneering that for Iowa. And Calista, do you think that's something that maybe you and some of the girls might want to do when they get done wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I would always love to stay involved with the sport. I don't know where the future leads to, but that would be something I'm willing to look into. I think it's really nice for us just because obviously my male coaches, I mean, we have such a relationship as well, but they don't fully understand where we come from as women in the sport of wrestling. I think that having a girl coach is really successful and really helps out the team just because they can understand from our perspective what we're going through. And I mean, having my sister in my corner is always really nice. She was there for every single match my freshman year, and I'll never forget that. And she'll be there for my junior year too. So,
now, what was that like having her step back on the mat last year, not having her in your corner?
It was rough the first couple matches. I remember calling her before my first match, and I was like, I just want you here. I'm sorry. I miss you. I texted her a bunch.
And what she doesn't know is that anywhere I was, I had it pulled up on my phone, screaming, yelling at the phone, cheering her on. So I was always there. I just wasn't there in person.
Yeah, we like to steal her up here for Northwest Iowa, but I think she went back where her true love was at. So that's all right. I was kind of hoping maybe she'd sneak down and change uniforms and be a Ridgeview girl maybe once she got done, but that didn't happen. But that's awesome though. I love to see all the female coaches coming in. I know I say this almost every time I talk to somebody about girls wrestling and coaching. I don't think anybody wants to be a fat old 50-year-old guy, right? You can't see yourself in me. And I love coaching girls wrestling, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I'm sure I've helped people along the way, but you cannot see yourself in me. But Calista, you could see yourself in Rylee for sure. And you could see yourself in like an Allie Jabrock or a Paige Storm or I mean, you just go on and on and on of all the new girl coaches and female coaches and stuff. So I think that's something that I'm excited to see. Wrestling isn't everything for either one of you. I know I'll start with Calista because we share a love of cooking. Where did that come from, and where's it going to go?
My parents and my grandparents, of course. I remember being in the kitchen, in my grandma's kitchen when I was little. She owns a little booth at a farmer's market that she bakes sweet treats for, pies, banana bread, cookies, etc. I'd always be in there helping her out. I finally got her to share some of her secret recipes with me these past couple weeks, so I'm really excited about that. My parents, obviously, with their restaurants that they used to own, I was always in the kitchen there. I was helping alter the recipes, stuff like that, create my own. I mean, ever since I was little, really, I've always had a love and a passion for cooking. I just took Pro Start 1 in school, which is like the expert level cooking class. So that was really exciting. It was more restaurant based. I don't know if in the future it would lead to anything more than just being a passion or a hobby, but it is a big passion that I share right now.
I didn't know if maybe a culinary institute or something like that might be in your future or something along those lines. Do you watch a lot of cooking shows?
I used to all the time when I was younger.
So if you had the opportunity to beat Bobby Flay, what would be your signature dish?
Oh, my signature dish, that is a hard one. Honestly, I would probably do a saffron. Wow, you caught me off guard with this.
It's got to be her homemade pasta. It's amazing.
I have had.
Yeah.
Didn't you do that for a fundraiser at one time or something?
Yeah, I did. I made a bunch of different types of pasta that I sold to a lot of the wrestlers and their families. I made spinach, I made sun-dried tomato, I made a Parmesan one, but now I've gotten more expert level. I've been making some tortellinis, raviolis. I've been trying out with a bunch of different stuff. And now my new passion is bread. I've been getting into bread really heavily.
Which is great coming into wrestling season because that'll keep the weight off for sure.
Oh, I know. I have to cut back a little bit now.
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
No, not at all.
And Rylee, I think your big passion is you're a horse mom, right?
Yeah, I am.
And are we going to do something with that? Is that your career aspiration, or is it just hobby?
A little bit of both, I hope. Right now, I am training a 4-year-old gelding, which is he's just a male horse. He is my pride and joy. I would love to show him when we get a little more safer on him. He's a little green. He's a little wild. He's a little wild still, but yeah, I would love to show him. But honestly, I just love spending my time out there. It's a really good like relief after school or a tough practice or anything like that.
They don't talk back, huh?
Well, he tries.
He does try.
He tries.
But you're probably a strong mom.
Yeah, I am. Very strict. Got to get on him.
That is funny. So what are you going to school at this point in time?
Yeah, right now I am at DMAC for a semester, and then I am transferring to Iowa State, and I'm going to get a master's in agriculture business and then a minor in animal science.
Very nice. Plus, do you have any idea what you want to be when you grow up? I still don't at my age, so don't feel like you have to.
I want to go some sort of medical route. I'm in my AP anatomy class right now, and I'm taking a CNA course at the Waukee Apex building. Maybe something in physical therapy. I was thinking about that, or something in pediatrics. I mean, I've been to therapy or physical therapy countless amount of times, so I'm pretty familiar with how it goes. And that was just kind of a love and an interest for me. And I think my physical therapists had a big impact on me. They would come in, or my trainers.
Probably because of the therapy and having Rylee as a sister, you probably could use some therapy. It's okay. There's no shame in that.
But my trainers would always come in. They would always wrap me up, my knees, my wrists, my thumbs, whatever I needed, my ankles. And I think that I kind of found a love and a passion for that, just to help out other student athletes as they are along in their journey with whatever sports they're doing. So,
well, speaking of injuries, Rylee, you kind of lost a couple of years of wrestling because of shoulder injuries. Do you directly link that to having to wrestle the guys?
Yes, I do. I think that my experience with the guys were amazing. I don't think I would have been as strong and as like skilled as I was if I didn't wrestle the guys in practice, but competition wise was really, really hard on my body. The men were significantly stronger than me, which I did have an advantage, you could say, about my flexibility and my hips. I mean, I think every female wrestler talks about how good their hips are. It's just the way we were made. You're a woman, you got good hips. So that was my one advantage, but the strength over it really did put a toll on my shoulders. I tore my labrum and my bicep tendon when I was in high school. But
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, you started wrestling boys when you were younger, but man, high school kids, could you imagine going out in 135 pound matches against guys right now? They're just not built the same.
Oh, I know. I wrestle in the Pablo Ubasa wrestling room in downtown. I wrestle there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, I believe. And then I'll go with the guys just to get a harder practice. And sometimes it's nice to have someone who is better than you, and they've been wrestling for so long, they know how to scramble, and it's really fluent the way that they wrestle. So it's really nice to get that practice in with them. And I mean, we have a good relationship with all of them. It's not like they're coming out there to hurt us or anything. They're just trying to help us get better too. But in a match, I can see where that can take a toll, and they don't want to lose to a girl. So they're going to try to outstrength you, even if you have better technique. And I can see where that can take a toll on your body. So I'm very grateful that girls wrestling got sanctioned when it did.
Yeah, I am too. I'd always fought for it, hard as a coach to get girls on the team, but man, it always hurt like deep inside when someone would come off and we're having another shoulder surgery or we're having a hip surgery or and I'm thinking, man, maybe this isn't the best thing in the world. And then sanctioning, or even when you wrestled in 2 of the IWCOA tournaments, which was a big game changer in the whole girls wrestling thing. That was pretty awesome. I remember being up in Waverly and watching your matches and stuff. So I mean, how about that? Let's talk a little bit about since you were in Waverly, and I think Calista probably was there watching. Contrasting now when we go down to Coralville and the difference, or even that first couple of years. I don't know if either one of you would have been at that first year when it was everybody could go and we had silver brackets and oh my God, it was crazy. Yeah. Maybe talk a little bit about that first one that was a really cold day that was like maybe 95, 100 girls.
My first state tournament, before the unsanctioned or before the sanctioning, I had 8 girls in my bracket, and I had 2 girls not show up. So there was a total of 6 of us. And we did it at Madison. We ran it like a full bracket. So we got like 1 match and then like your finals match. I can't remember exactly how it went. Second year, we had a bigger one. It like blew up from that. It went to 8, and then I had like a 32-man bracket with there was a couple spots missing in that, but that was when everyone could come. Mm-hmm. And then the next year is when I didn't get a wrestle. And then it blew up tremendously. And that was still when we didn't have regionals. And so our brackets were like 64-man brackets. And it blew up so much from that, like within 3 years.
Yeah, it is insane, the numbers. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, that Iowa had 3,500 girls wrestling last year in the high school, and that we were either number 3 or number 4th largest numbers in the country. And that's behind states like Texas and California. Yeah. And I know for a fact that everyone is jealous of our state tournament, which kind of leads me to the next question. What do you guys think about 2 classes? And, the brackets will be a little bit different.
I think it's definitely going to be a difference. I mean, the girls that I have wrestled since freshman year, I'm not going to have the opportunity to wrestle some of them now. I think it will be good just because each and every year, we're doubling or tripling just our numbers and the amount of girls that are out on the mat. So I think it'll be good in that aspect. It kind of hurts me though, because of course, I'm not going to see some of my friends that I would normally be used to seeing just at a tournament, just like state, where that's the only chance I would get to see them. But I think wrestling wise, it will be beneficial as the years come, of course. And I think our tournament, if you were there last year, it was packed from door to door. You could barely move a couple feet without running into someone. It was so crazy. It was completely sold out, I believe, within a couple hours of the tickets coming out. It was absolutely insane. It was a huge tournament. It was super fun, of course. It was a really fun and exciting atmosphere to be into, but I just think it was so packed and so busy that I think 2 will be really good for the girls.
Yeah, I also think that splitting it up in 2 is only moving us forward, because we split it in 2 and then we're going to have 3 and then we're going to have 4, hopefully like all of them. I don't know. Yeah. But I think just like once we split and now we can allow like the whole like wrestling and more people coming in and like families I know that was kind of a big thing where some families didn't get their ticket ahead of time and so they weren't able to make it in. I think once we split it, they will be able to, like, everybody will be able to come in to watch the girls that they're there to support. And then hopefully within the years go on, we're able to bring more classes in and keep bringing all these girls in.
Yeah. And then I don't know if it'll happen in your time at Raccoon River, but, I'm also in a large co-op. I have 5 schools involved too. And, I think probably one of the next things we're going to start seeing, and I've talked to James, your coach, Biscaglia, and he's kind of got a plan figured out, how things will go. I'm starting to figure out plans to go, because that's the next step in growing it, is to split these smaller schools away from us and give them opportunities to maybe have another 14 different girls go to regionals, and qualify. So, kind of sad, because it's going to take away practice partners, and maybe that we build those bonds of having a real tight family. But I think overall, probably the direction it's going to go. I could see even a 3rd class maybe coming in before we even, that's been a big discussion, because we were at 32 qualifiers and now we're at 16 per. And I know there's some discussion on that. And I think the original plan was to go to 24 like the boys do, but we can't do it in 2 days. So it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't quite fit. So hopefully those growing pains, that they're not too hard on us. But, because again, girls wrestling is different than boys. We care a little bit more about the relationships we built than maybe the guys care about, So I'm going to give you some questions, and I'm going to compare and contrast some sisters here. Favorite music genre?
Country.
Rap or hip hop.
Okay. Favorite song?
Though. Old rap.
Old rap. Like old, when you're saying old rap, are you saying like early 2000s, or are you saying like
Yeah,
90s?
90s, Eminem, people like that.
Okay, so you're not like way back with your mom and dad and I and listening to, like I don't even know. LL Cool J. No.
Not quite there.
Not quite there. All right. Favorite song?
Oh no.
So that's a hard question because I categorize my songs. I'm very into music. I have a playlist for wrestling. I have a playlist for relaxing. I have a playlist for wrestling practice.
Okay, here's the question for both of you then. It's the song before I'm going out on the mat for a state title. What song do I listen to?
Burn It Down. Who sings that? It was my walkout song in college. One second, I gotta.
Well, funny story about my walkout song. My walkout song was picked by my team for Raccoon River, and my walkout song is the Barbie theme song.
Nice.
That's what they all thought that I would like the most. Katie Viscoglia's is Frozen, I believe. Let It Go. So we like to have funny walkout songs. So for our duels, that's the last song that I'm listening to.
How about in the earbuds?
The earbuds.
Not everybody gets to hear.
Harder rap songs, NLE, Eminem, songs like that. Just songs that have like a faster beat to them. Definitely not kid-friendly songs.
Not kid-friendly songs. We can't play that in the youth practices.
No, not at all. I got yelled at for it once, actually. Yes, I put on the wrong playlist.
It's hard to find a playlist that you can play at a youth wrestling practice anymore. Yeah. Favorite color?
Pink or black.
Blue.
Yeah. Okay. Best movie ever?
Moana.
I would say Moana, yeah. Okay. I think that's what
we're very excited for Moana 2 to come out.
Oh yeah.
We will be in theaters the day it comes out.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Dogs.
Oh man. I don't know where you went wrong with Calista.
I love both, but my kittens are very near and dear to my heart. I don't know what I would do without them.
I think your mom posted a picture of Rylee trying to hold this cat, and it had a very mad look on its face.
That's Calista's cat.
Oh yeah. We would always be down out on our farm. She'd be the one with the horses in the pasture, and I'd be in the barn with all of the barn kittens. So that's where we grew up.
And now Rebel's the family dog?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He is something, that's for sure.
I don't know if he'll make an appearance. He's probably running around.
Catching a raccoon or something.
Oh yeah.
Okay, how about this question? Freestyle or folk style?
Freestyle.
I'm going to be controversial and say folk style only because I think that's where I grew up my whole life, and I have had a lot of experience in freestyle. So I think I will always go back to folk style.
I would just say freestyle just because I love a good 5-point throw. Yeah. I love throwing bombs. I like the break in between. I love the 30-second. It's my water break personally. I'm sure you're probably supposed to be listening to your coaches then, and I do, but it's mostly my water break. I think the matches go by so quickly. I mean, you could be on the mat for about 15 seconds. I think you can do some really nice moves that you can't do in folk style, but I also think injuries are more prominent in freestyle. So you have to be very careful as to how you're wrestling. You have to be very body conscious while you're wrestling freestyle.
Yeah, I actually am kind of a both. I really enjoy freestyle for a lot of reasons. For all of the same reasons, I love the big moves. I love the fast pace. As an old timer, I love that break in a period. That's the greatest thing ever. And if you guys ever wrestle old timers tournaments, that's the greatest thing, to get a minute match or minute period and a minute break and a minute period and a minute break. It's so awesome. Yeah. But I love the control of folk style. I love throwing some boots in and looking for something and punishing people just a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'll be halfway through freestyle season saying that freestyle is my favorite, and then halfway through folk style season I'll say folk style is my favorite. So yeah. I think it's just whichever one I'm in.
Do you have any aspirations, Calista, of going to college to wrestle?
Definitely. I do think that I would totally keep my career going in wrestling. I think it just depends on where I want to go to school, what I want to go to school for, what my opportunities are. So that is to be undecided.
All right. Haven't started looking yet, huh?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Well, you know, the Iowa has a lot of schools to offer. You want to stay in Iowa.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to go to a few different places. Fargo. Tell me about going up to Fargo a little bit. I mean, I don't think, Rylee, you never got the opportunity to go up there, did you?
No. I did not.
I will say Fargo is one of the craziest tournaments you're ever going to go to. And I don't want to say that in a way that's going to scare wrestlers who haven't gone there. I want to say that in a way that's going to excite wrestlers and make them want to go there. I think that the atmosphere there is so fun, so exciting. You're going to wrestle wrestlers you've never wrestled before. You might take some losses, you might take some wins, but I think the lessons that I have learned in the Fargo Wrestling Dome, I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. I've had some of the most important talks and life lessons that I've learned from my coaches in that dome. I've made connections and friendships I've never been able to make before. I've made memories that I'll keep with me forever. I think that Fargo is very exciting, and not just because of the wrestling, just because of the people who go there that wrestle. I think that they're the ones that make the tournament what it is.
Yeah, I've only been up there once, but it was a long time ago. I think there was maybe, I don't even know if between juniors and it was juniors and cadets then. It wasn't it was U16 or anything, but it was juniors and cadets, and I believe there was under 1,000 girls wrestling at the time, and now it's like I don't even know.
It's so
crazy amount.
It's so crazy. I think, just even getting to go up there and wrestle on the lifted mats is just such an experience that it's just a feeling you're never going to feel again. It's just such a unique experience that I think that everyone should go there at least once if they feel comfortable. I think that it is just such an amazing opportunity that I don't know why someone wouldn't take it to go there and just try it out. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, you know?
I always say that to girls when we're going out. I said, the worst that's going to happen is someone is going to drop you on your head. You're going to break your neck and you're going to die. So that's the absolute worst thing that can happen. And it's probably not going to. So let's just give it a try. Sometimes I'm not a very good salesman, but, but no, I have said that. But, and then some other opportunities. And I know Riley's taken advantage of these, coaching like at Twin Rivers and things like that. What's it like to be able to go coach some of those dual teams that are, that tournament? I remember, I believe it was the second or third Twin Rivers, and that's when I gave out the socks, and that was the first time I coached her. And I sent you that picture today, and I will post that picture. But 2 Iowa teams to this year, 29 Iowa teams. What's it like to be able to give back and coach in an environment like that?
It is so rewarding. It is such a feeling that I'll never get anywhere else. My favorite age to coach are the little kids. And I think the reason I like to coach them so much is there's so much energy, there's so much excitement, and there's so much tears, which is not a good thing, but it's something that we get to overcome together. And those little girls I'm still coaching, I coached 3 years ago, they still run up and jump in my arms when I see them at tournaments, and they'll never forget my face. I'll never forget their face. And it's just amazing. And you can make so many jokes and bets. Last year I lost 24 donuts to my girls because we did some if you guys can get this many takedowns or something like that. And every single one of my girls got a takedown on this really good team. So I lost 24 Krispy Kreme sprinkle donuts to them, but I'll never forget that moment. I woke up 2 hours early to get those donuts for them.
That is really cool. Yeah, those are some of those teams and girls. I have no idea who they are. Those are some of my favorite things to do. Coaching alternative teams that the girls didn't even think they were going to have matches, and they get to be on a team, and we completely get destroyed. But boy, we have a good time doing it.
Yeah, we do.
I don't even know where else to go. I mean, is there anything that you guys want to throw out there? Something about wrestling, something about just life, anything?
I think a message that I think that all girls should hear is just try out, just do it, just go to a couple practices. I know that this sport can seem so scary and so intimidating, especially for younger girls who want to fit the norms of high school or middle school or wherever you're going. But I promise you, especially since the sport has gotten sanctioned and since these wrestling rooms have been built and the communities inside of the wrestling rooms have been built, you will find a place for yourself in these wrestling rooms. And I think I just want every girl to try it. I try to convince all my friends every day, every single time I see them in school, just come out, just come to one practice. I promise you, you'll find friends, you'll find family, you'll have fun. So I think that every girl should just try it. And I know everyone's going to say that, but I just really think that they should.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing, and this kind of goes for life in general and not just wrestling, is try as much as possible just once. And sometimes I don't take that advice to myself. But like, even with like friendships, go meet some people, go try. And it's okay if you guys don't get along. But my best friend now, Shania Graybill, me and her did not get along. We were not friends when we first met, and we became the bestest of friends because of wrestling, honestly. But I mean, even if we didn't get put in the situation that we were in, we wouldn't even have known each other. And now that I went out there and I put myself out there and I explored the world, I have a ride or die for the rest of my life. So just go put yourself out there. And if something doesn't work out, one door closes and another one right behind you is going to open. Like, just go try it out at least once.
That's really good advice, both of you. You know, it's been really fun. I don't even know how many years I've known you guys. It just has been really fun. I can remember, you know, taping Calista's ankle before a tournament. I can remember talking to Rylee about injuries and at state tournament. I think you got third or fourth your freshman or sophomore year, and how upset you were. But we talked it through, you know, all those different things, and just even just your family. I get along with your mom and dad so well. I always run into them at the state tournament. That's the only time I really get to see them. I wish we were a little closer to do that, but you know, I think this sport is awesome. I think you guys are awesome. I'm glad you have all kinds of things going on in your life besides just wrestling, because it can consume you, but it's great to have all those things. I wish you both great success this year, unless you're wrestling somebody from Ridgeview. But you know, I can't wait to see you guys down at the state tournament, and if hopefully maybe at a tournament before then. But I think we're going to end this for today. Stick around and I'll talk to you for a couple minutes.
Perfect. Thank you.